Hello everyone. So welcome guys to my channel. Yeah, so I've decided to start with this new year with a new initiative on a pilot basis, not on a permanent basis. I'll just see how these things pan out over a period of time. So the about the new initiative, let me tell you something that what I've decided that I'll be giving you weekly Indian economic and world economic updates which has appeared in obviously the newspapers, the two national newspapers, that is Hindu and the Indian Express. And I'll just, it will obviously it will work as about that for your GS paper 3 and for your examinations as well. So the things that we'll be learning here, basically it will act as uh, a kind of an updated material in your notes, whatever we have studied in the class over a period of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Now it is the time to upgrade those things. And whatever news article that we'll be seeing over a period of 1 week, because generally I have a habit of reading newspapers. So within that newspapers only, some very important only news affairs, five, six news I'll try to pick. Five, six top news because generally economic topics are self-repeating, so that your concepts will also be pressed with that. Fine. So every week I'm planning to launch this, and after a period of time, maybe I'll also incorporate some Arunachal Pradesh related economic current affairs, right? Mostly for your mains, for our mains perspective, per se. So let's start this year with the first video. Just a minute. Let me share my screen with you. I guess the screen is visible now. Fine. Yes, it is. It is visible. Fine. So just a second. Yeah. So yes, guys. So this is 1st January to 7th January. What all news that has appeared in the various newspapers, the two national newspapers. We'll be seeing that in detail in this part. So these are the some topics that I have jotted down from the daily newspapers that we have seen about the public debt. बहुत ज़्यादा हल्ला हो रहा है इसको लेकर कि the report has come up by the IMF, and the government of India is not accepting that report. And obviously, we have abundant and sufficient reasons to do so, but we'll not get into that controversy. We will just try to revise this particular concept of public debt, or just government liability we call. Next is a little bit just know-how about free trade agreement, and some import duties are in news all the time. So just 1 2 line we will read it. We'll just try to relate it with our syllabus that we have learned. Then we'll see about the direct benefit transfer, about the purchaser managers index survey, about an opinion editorial that came up in Indian Express today. That is GDP forecast of India, and we'll also see about Competition Commission of India and the antitrust policy. If you remember, while studying the macroeconomics and microeconomics, we saw that how the government, in order to make sure that the economy is a free-flowing economy, government has this concept known as coming up with antitrust and these kind of things. Fine. So yeah. Now the first topic of the day is public debt. Now, first of all, let us see what do we mean by this public debt situation. What is exactly, what do we understand by public debt? See, when we try to understand public debt, first of all, there is debt means karja, and karja means liabilities. So there is something known as government liabilities. Okay. When we talk about government of India's liabilities, government of India liability की जब हम बात करते हैं, तो we talk only about the central government's liability. Fine. So liability means debt, right? Karj. Liability does not mean public debt. Now let us see what is public debt. So what all things are there in the government liabilities? So first of all, it is the internal debt of India. Yeah, suppose internal debt only. Fine. What is internal debt? You remember that whenever government needs money, government either goes to the market to borrow, internal market like the banks, government bonds, or from the RBI. Fine. So that is means when the Indian government, central government, the union government, it borrows money internally within the country. Uske baad, there is something known as external debt. Obviously, external debt, we know what is external debt. Whenever we borrow from abroad, whenever we take loan from foreign countries for foreign companies, fine, that is known as external debt. Uske baad, third is public account of India. Do you remember the public account of India? There are three accounts of India: consolidated, contingency, and public account. Public account may generally all these small savings of the individuals, PPF, all those things are there in the government's this. Together, this 1, 2, and 3. Together, this 1, 2, and 3 are known as Government of India liabilities. Now, please be very, very sure about these terms technically. Okay. Now, internal debt and external debt. Government का, Government of India का, सिर्फ Union Government का I'm talking about. इसको we call it public debt of Government of India. See, public account liability mein there is also money of the public which the government owes to the public, right? But usko we don't consider it a part of public debt. For prelims point of view, this becomes very, very important. This classification has to be understood, my friends. Okay, so public debt of Government of India बोलते हैं सिर्फ दो को, किसको? Internal debt and the external debt. Fine. Now after this, the third thing that we have to understand, the third thing is, the second thing that we have to understand is what is the external debt of India. Now, when I talk of India, it means that central government, state government, plus the companies that are there in India. Now, can the states borrow from abroad? No. Now, yes, they can borrow from the abroad, but the union government has to be a guarantor of the loans. तभी आपको जैसे बिहार को लोन लेना है, अरुणाचल प्रदेश has to take borrow loan from the foreign country. So that will be a part of external debt of India, not the Government of India liabilities. Try to understand this and this both are different. This is about India and this is about Government of India. When we talk about Government of India, this is only central government. But when we talk about India, it means state plus central plus the Indian companies. Together we call this external debt of India. Okay. Now my friend, what is there in external debt of India? सबसे पहले इसमें सबसे पहला कंसेप्ट, इसमें जो सबसे पहला जो पार्ट होता है, जो कंपोनेंट होता है, वो होता है एक्सटर्नल डेप्ट ऑफ गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया. दिस इज देयर, दिस टू पार्ट इज देयर. उसके बाद इसमें होता है एक्सटर्नल commercial borrowings. What is external commercial borrowings? When an Indian company, say Tata, say Reliance, when an Indian company borrows loan from foreign banks or from foreign companies or from foreign financial institution, that that transaction is known as external commercial borrowings. Okay. Then there is foreign portfolio investment जो इंडिया में आता है. याद करिए, foreign portfolio investment, we saw this in the this foreign trade account of India. Investments, they come to India. दो तरह की investments आती हैं इंडिया में, FDI and FPI. FDI is whenever you own a share more than 10%, and whenever you own less than 10%, that is FPI. So whatever investment comes in the form of foreign portfolio investment, that is a part of external debt of India. Remember it. And next is the deposits which the NRI makes. NRI लोग अपना बैंक अकाउंट खोल सकते हैं आरबीआई के साथ. फाइन. So NRI deposits are also counted as a part of external debt of this country. Fine. So these four things are there, and together these four things are known as external debt of India. Fine. Very good. So remember these two things. There is इसको लेके कुछ ज्यादा लफड़ा हो रहा है कि what is our external debt and all. So understand that India's जो debt है, that is 80% of our GDP. Americans and China's, they have crossed the 100% limit. Our GDP is also very high. The encasing committee and all those committee, they have said that not more than 60% of the GDP should be the public debt. तो इंडिया का public debt है ये. अब सारे डेप्ट्स को जब आप जोड़ोगे तो दैट विल ऑब्वियसली क्रॉस. सो अलग अलग इंस्टीट्यूशंस अलग अलग बेंचमार्क्स यूज करते हैं. वी डोंट केयर अबाउट दैट. रिमेंबर दीज टू थिंग्स फॉर योर प्रीलिम्स एग्जाम एज वेल एज मेंस एग्जाम. Fine, the devil lies in the detail. This is the detail, my friends. Okay. Now, very quickly, let's go to the today since this is the first video. So let's keep it, short and to the point. Next is a news article came in Indian Express about no longer looking at import duties as a revenue source in FTA negotiations. First of all, what is FTA? Free trade agreement. Now, free trade agreement is a type of when two or more than two economic actors, remember the class of macroeconomics, when two or more than two economic actors, they come together, they sign some deals, international trading deals. So that part is known as free trade agreement. आपस में कंट्रीज लोग साइन करते हैं सो दैट ट्रेडिंग्स का बेनिफिट उठाया जा सके. So what is the news? Now, India is presently negotiating free trade agreement with UK, EU, Australia and Oman. अभी हुआ नहीं है, होने के बाद this becomes important for our exam. Fine. इसमें ये कहा जा रहा है कि इंडिया FTA नेगोशिएशन करते समय अपने इंपोर्ट ड्यूटीज को घटाने के ऊपर ध्यान देगा. We'll try to reduce the import duty. What is import duty? Remember, import duty means custom duties from our class. Import duty also has इसके ऊपर सरचार्जेस जो लगते हैं. फाइन, इसके ऊपर सेस लगेगा. इसका ऊपर देयर विल बी काउंटर वेलिंग ड्यूटीज. इसका ऊपर देयर विल बी एंटी डंपिंग ड्यूटीज. इफ यू रिमेंबर getting it, countervailing duty, anti-dumping duty. So these kind of duties are applicable. Now, why this news is important for our mains exam? Let me zoom it for you. Just want to show you one paragraph here. This one. See, please try to update it in your notes. इसको अपने जो business oriented जो जितना भी GS पेपर 3 में जो इकोनॉमी का फंडामेंटल्स है उसमें आप इसको ये कर सकते हैं. Just a minute. See this part. India has the highest import duty compared to most major economies. Fine. So this part, just remember it. उसके बाद this one. India is a high tariff economy. Even if you see the major South Asian countries, the average tariff has gone pretty down. ठीक, पर इंडिया में ऐसा नहीं है. There is a tendency to remove trade barriers across the globe. Now remember this term, trade barriers. You remember our class in agriculture, agreement on agriculture and WTO. We talked about this trade barriers. There are two kinds of trade barriers: tariff barriers, non-tariff barriers. Customs are tariff barriers that are okay, that can be there. What is problematic, what is dangerous, what is the devil? The non-tariff barriers, जो क्वालिटेटिव रिस्ट्रिक्शंस लगती हैं, है ना. बट इन जनरल इसको थोड़ा सा आपको ध्यान रखना है. ठीक, उसके बाद एक लाइन यहां से देखिए, प्रॉब्लमेटिक लाइन है. दिस इज अ इशू that India's trade regime and the regulatory environment, it remains relatively restrictive. Now these terms are only important, my friend. You know, have to keep these keywords in the mind. Restrictive, कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स है तभी जाके इतना हल्ला होता है. ठीक, अब कुछ कुछ और डेटा है, इतना नहीं घुसना है इसमें. There is literally no point talking about this. Now there are some technical barriers to trade. Sanitary and phytosanitary measures, we know this term. Fine. If you don't know this term, then you have to be, you have to really read a lot. So, let's move away from this term. Let's come to the next news that we has. How and why the DBT work. This is a beautiful piece of article which is written. You remember that what are the different types of subsidies that India gives? India gives three types of subsidies. शुरू से देते आया इंडिया. Three types, मतलब types नहीं बोलेंगे, we can call it three tools. Subsidies are given as per three tools. There are three tools to provide subsidies, and it has been followed since independence. The first is the price subsidy. Means हर चीज का दाम घटा दो या बढ़ा दो. बढ़ाने का मतलब क्या हो गया? MSP को बढ़ाया जाता है. So price बढ़ा के भी सब्सिडी दिया जाता है. Getting it? But generally price subsidy means you lower the prices. This is simple. ये डिस्टॉर्टिंग का काम करता है. याद करिए, इट डिस्टॉर्ट्स द मार्केट. व्हाई? बिकॉज अगर हर चीज का दाम घट जाता है तो अमीर के लिए भी कम हो गया, गरीब के लिए भी कम हो गया. लेकिन प्रॉब्लम क्या है? व्हाई द रिच पीपल शुड पे लेस? सो दिस वाज द फर्स्ट स्टेप. व्हाट डू वी सी आफ्टर 2015? व्हाट डू वी सी? 2015, after 2015, we see that government shifted to something known as a beautiful thing, that is direct benefit transfer. And from 2019, we saw the third tool to provide subsidy in India, that is known as income subsidy. Fine. So these are the three tools by which the government provides income subsidy. This newspaper, Indian Express, it makes a point that how and why the DBT works, means it is going to talk about the benefits of direct benefit transfer. And I told you, my friend, कि whenever this shift was made, earlier questions used to be fixed on price subsidy. Now, since the government's approach has changed, so direct benefit transfer is the talk of the town. So there are some news articles related to this. See what is written. It is written that be it Narega, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. What is Narega? You give jobs to the people, money in the account of the people. You talk about PM Kisan. What is PM Kisan? PM Kisan is an example of price income subsidy. You give directly income. और कांग्रेस ने एक प्रॉमिस किया न्याय. It is similar to Kisan. Why do politicians rush to give direct benefit? मतलब कैश. देखिए यहाँ पे कैश आ गया to the poor. जो old thinking है, it कहती है it is better to teach a man to fish rather than to merely give him a fish to eat. But that may not always be the best choice for politics or economy. This is a very beautiful piece, but we don't have to read everything in detail. I have pinpointed some points of this. So I want to show you this point from this particular news article. See, the question is, what is the argument? See here, everyone. This line you have to be, writing it in your notebook for your essay paper. See, this is, what is the argument for DBT? Very good news. I mean, you can just write the entire paragraph in your notebook. As we have seen in the class also, that if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. This is a very fine line. Fine. So you just teach them. But DBT is why important. Why income support is important. Why to give them subsidies are even important. So this is a very beautiful analogy that has been drawn. They have said that. However, now try to understand this. However, what if the man is too hungry on the first day to learn anything? And this is a very valid point. आप बोलेंगे क्या आओ चलो सबको मछली पकड़ना सिखाते हैं. Fine, this is very good. Economics के लिए wow, fun, wonderful. Just looking like a wow. But my friend, if a person is too hungry, how will he get up and how will he come to your class to understand that? So what if this man is too hungry on the first day to learn anything, or so weak that he needs to be fed for a few days before he can get enough in strength to learn? This is a very valid point. What if the choice is between feeding him a fish today and risking his life, and आप उसको आप ट्रेन करो लेकिन उसको पहले दिन कुछ खाना ही नहीं दियो तो वो मर रहा है ऑलरेडी. सो ये कहना ये चाह रहा है कि ऑलरेडी कंट्री में इतना डिप्रीविएशन है, और जितना भी जॉब इंडिया के सेक्टर्स में जितने भी जॉब्स अभी तक मिले हैं, उनका नेचर आप जानते हैं. गेनफुल एम्प्लॉयमेंट किसी को नहीं मिला है. रिजर्वेशन का बेनिफिट किसी को नहीं. व्हाट इज रिजर्वेशन? रिजर्वेशन इज अ हाईवे. इफ यू मतलब ये बिल्कुल फ्लाई है, यहाँ से उड़ता है, आप वहां पे आप टेक ऑफ करते हो. Runway है वो. Reservation is a runway. If you don't take off, how will other flights take off? So people who are getting benefits of reservation, they're not taking off from that runway. What is happening as a result? That Indian government, over a period of time since independence, they have failed to provide a job opportunity or an income opportunity to everyone. So ultimately, what we are left to? We are left to one point, कि we have to give people food. कब तक? जब तक hunger है, जब तक that person is not able to come to the technical workshop to learn how to catch fish with you. Now, perhaps the answer would be to give the man a fish before insisting he learns how to fish. This would be based on realization that a feeble man can't learn much. The man would be motivated enough to learn, provided he's in a situation to learn. Now, these lines are for your essay part. Essay में इस तरह के questions, एक essay आपका जो है around इस तरह से आता है, empowerment से related, and this is a very fundamental, fantastic line of independent. This one. उसके बाद there are some analogies also. Just read it, but write this paragraph here. उसके बाद you talk about income support. We made a case about income support. What is the example of income support? Universal basic income. Why has universal basic income not been attempted in India and is not popular elsewhere? This is just like PM Kisan. PM Kisan mein government gives 6,000 rupees. What we argue? We argue that कि stop all the subsidies, don't give them anything in kind, just give everything to them in cash. Means they let there be have a universal basic income. So you can also read these parts about so what is the practice in other countries. ठीक, उसके बाद just read the last line. यहाँ से आप इसको please read it. There are examples also. Fine. So just go through this. Just once you will read it, you will know what to write from this part. Okay. Now let's see another news article. Uh, December manufacturing PMI at 18-month low on slower pace of orders and output. Now, first of all, what is PMI? So PMI is a survey. First of all, it is a survey by non-government private agencies. Simple. It has nothing to do with the Indian government. Some private companies are there, foreign companies are there, और वो लोग ये सर्वे करता है. But my friend, this survey is a VVI, very very important survey for इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ. ये गवर्नमेंट का डेटा नहीं है, पर गवर्नमेंट की जितनी भी पॉलिसीज होती हैं खुद के डेटा से ज्यादा इस पीएमआई के डेटा पे निर्भर करती हैं. Why do I say this? See, first understand the full form. Purchaser Managers Index. Purchasing Managers Index. Now, first of all, this survey is not about consumer. This survey is about producer. Suppose, who is a producer? Producer of either goods or services. तो गुड्स जो प्रोड्यूस करता है उसको हम लोग बोलते हैं मैन्युफैक्चरर. सर्विसेज जो प्रोड्यूस करता है उसको हम लोग बोलते हैं मैन्युफैक्चरर. नाउ ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड. सपोज आई मेक दिस पेन. सो आई एम अ पेन प्रोड्यूसर. आई एम अ पेन प्रोड्यूसर. In the month of November, in order to make this pen, what do I need? I need 100 plastic, say 100 plastic tubes for this pen. I need, say 30 liters of ink. Yes or no? And I need, say 5 kg of steel. वो पेन में जो कैप में वो लगाते हैं. तो ठीक है. This is the month of November. Now forget about how many pens I produce. In the month of December, my friend, see what happens. In the month of December, I purchased 110 plastic tubes. I purchased 32 liters of ink. And I purchased 6 kg of steel. I am a pen producer. I am a manager at this company. मेरा इस महीने का जो बिल है किस चीज पे? इनपुट कॉस्ट पे, रॉ मटेरियल को खरीदने पे. टेल मी, ज्यादा किस में होगा? दिसंबर में ज्यादा होगा. फाइन. सो दिसंबर में मैंने ज्यादा रॉ मटेरियल खरीदा है. क्यों हम रॉ मटेरियल खरीदेंगे? दहेज देने के लिए? खुद का खाने पीने के लिए? नो. Definitely for production, my friend. Yes or no? So when I have purchased more in December, it means that definitely I am going to do more production in the month of January. Yes or no? Obviously, yes, 100%. Come on. I'm going to do that. It means that it is good sign that demand is increasing. Demand is going to increase. I as a manager know that in January, demand will increase. Why? Because February, March में board exams आते हैं. और बोर्ड एग्जाम्स में मुझे पता है कि बच्चे लोग उस समय पढ़ाई शुरू करते हैं लिखना. They all will want to buy pen. So let me buy more raw materials. So when I am as a manager, I am buying more raw materials. It is a good thing for the economy because there is going to be demand. And when there is going to be demand, I mean, obviously I have purchased more raw materials. So when I have purchased more raw material, it means I'm going to produce more. Means more production means. Arey, come on, tell me. More production means more GDP. So that is why I say PMI index is a very, very important index which tells about the GDP growth. Does the government release? No, not at all. Who releases it? Private companies. They take survey from all the companies. They ask you कि भाई रॉ मटेरियल्स खरीदने में आपने पिछले महीने कितना खरीदा, इस महीने क्या आपने ज्यादा खरीदा, कम खरीदा या कुछ नहीं खरीदा. तो कह रहा है ये कि दिसंबर के मंथ में जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग पीएमआई है, दो पीएमआई होता है, एक सर्विसेज पीएमआई और एक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग पीएमआई। व्हाट इज सर्विसेज पीएमआई? जैसे सक्सेस पॉइंट प्रोवाइड्स यू सर्विस, एजुकेशन सर्विस। तो सपोज इन द मंथ ऑफ जनवरी सक्सेस पॉइंट ने मार्कर्स पे, इंक पे 200 रुपए का सामान खरीदा, 200 रुपए में मार्कर्स खरीदे। फरवरी के मंथ में सक्सेस पॉइंट ने 300 रुपए का मार्कर खरीदा, 300 रुपीज। व्हाट इट मीन्स? इट मीन्स दैट इन मार्च मे बी अ न्यू बैच इज गोइंग टू बी लॉन्च्ड, maybe more services are going to be produced. It's a good thing for the government. So that is why it has such relevance that it gains national headlines. So PMI, it calculates the salary. क्या कह रहा है कि दिसंबर मंथ का जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग PMI है वो पिछले 1.5 साल में सबसे कम है, लेकिन नवंबर से ज्यादा है फिर भी। बट लास्ट 18 मंथ्स में अभी तक इतना कम नहीं देखा गया था, पर ऑब्वियसली इट इज मोर, इट हैज इंक्रीज्ड, इट हैज इंक्रीज्ड। नवंबर में अगर कम था तो उससे ज्यादा बढ़ा है। बट माय फ्रेंड, ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट कि लास्ट जो दिसंबर है उसके कंपैरिजन में या लास्ट 18 मंथ्स के कंपैरिजन जो हम लोग देखते हैं, सो इट हैज नॉट गेन मच। इसमें ज्यादा कुछ आपको पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है। ओके, नाउ आफ्टर अंडरस्टैंडिंग द व्हाट इज पीएमआई, यू प्लीज रीड दिस। नाउ you read this, you will get an idea about that. Getting it? Subdued demand hits. Now this is the just line vocabulary that you have to keep in mind. Next line, next news, my friends. On the upside, now this is an editorial which came in the Indian Express. It says that NSO is what? National Statistics Office. NSO GDP estimate surpasses expectation. Okay. Continuing weakness in a private consumption remains a worry. Now GDP, I told you, my friend, either you measure it from supply side or demand side. When it comes to demand, who consumes? Private final consumption expenditure is there. Then government final consumption expenditure is there. Then gross fixed capital formation is there. Fine. And then there is some external sector, export import. क्या कह रहा है इसमें कि प्राइवेट कंजम्पशन अभी भी बहुत कम है। क्यों कम होगा दोस्त प्राइवेट कंजम्पशन? लोगों का नौकरी नहीं होगा, लोगों का इनकम कम होगा। तो कह रहा है एनएसओ ने एक एस्टिमेट किया है कि जीडीपी हमारा 7.3% ग्रो करेगा फाइनेंशियल ईयर में। किस फाइनेंशियल ईयर में? मतलब अगर 2022 और 2023 का बीच में जीडीपी 100 लाख करोड़ है, सो 2023 और 2024 में ये जो फाइनेंशियल ईयर चल रहा है इससे 7.3% का ग्रोथ होगा। मतलब दिस विल बिकम 107.3 लाख करोड़। दिस इज गुड, फाइन, नो प्रॉब्लम। ऊपर का 2 पॉइंट आपको पढ़ने का जरूरत ही नहीं है। अब यहाँ देखिए, कह रहा है द सेक्टर वाइज डेटा शोज दैट एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर इज एक्सपेक्टेड टू स्लो डाउन सिग्निफिकेंटली। अच्छा खासा गिरावट होगा। अब ये बस अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए, डोंट राइट दिस इन ए नोटबुक, दिस विल ऑब्वियसली बी चेंज्ड every 3 months. Okay. Manufacturing companies have reported healthy profits and steel and cement has been healthy so far. उसके बाद on the flip side, the services sector is likely to slow down. बस ऐसे casually इसको, no, you don't have to write it. Okay, don't write it. Now very quickly let's see. This is the important point. Private consumption is expected to grow at a mere 4% rate. क्या दिखा रहा है ये कि इनकम ग्रोथ जो है, जो सैलरी है वो घट चुकी है, सबड्यूड। इन्वेस्टमेंट एक्टिविटी इज एक्सपेक्टेड टू रिमेन हेल्दी। व्हाट इज इन्वेस्टमेंट? ग्रॉस फिक्स्ड कैपिटल फॉर्मेशन, जितना वो अभी 30-35% का अराउंड है इंडिया में। फाइन, वो क्या कह रहा है? इट माइट स्लो डाउन इन द मंथ्स अहेड। ठीक है, दीज आर द थिंग्स जस्ट यू हैव टू जस्ट कीप इन माइंड। नाउ लास्ट इज CCI proves DHL, FedEx, UPS over price collusion. Now remember, CCI is Competition Commission of India. When it was established in the year 2002. Okay. Now, if I ask you a political question, it is statutory or constitutional? Definitely statutory. Why statutory? It is made by a different statute. It has nothing to do with the constitution. इसका काम क्या है? इंडिया में फेयर कंपटीशन को इंश्योर करना बिटवीन कंपनीज। व्हाई? बिकॉज एडम स्मिथ कह के गए हैं कि लेट द इकोनॉमी बी फ्री, so there will be something known as invisible hand. So in order to ensure that India में there is invisible hand, the CCI has started looking into the courier companies. DHL is a courier company. FedEx is a courier company. UPS is a courier company. अब ये लोग कुरियर कंपनी है, ये लोग क्या किया, प्राइस कोल्यूजन कर लिया, मतलब कंपटीशन होना था, बट व्हाट दे हैव मेड, दे हैव टुगेदर मेड अ ट्रस्ट, एंड व्हेन यू मेक अ ट्रस्ट, it is anti-competitive, it is anti-market, the government will make anti-trust policy. So गवर्नमेंट का एंटी ट्रस्ट पॉलिसी को कौन इंश्योर करता है, सीसीआई इंश्योर करता है। तो बस प्राइस कोल्यूजन मतलब ये लोग मिल के क्या किए हैं, बोले हैं कि अगर आप दिल्ली से बॉम्बे कुरियर भेजते हैं तो सारे लोग, ये तीनों के तीनों लोग एक ही अमाउंट ऑफ रेट चार्ज करते हैं आपसे, ताकि जैसे ऑटो स्टैंड में क्या होता है, दे मेक अ ट्रस्ट, दे मेक अ कोल्यूजन, फाइन। देखिए यहाँ पे वर्ड है कार्टेलाइजेशन, तो जस्ट इसको समझिए और ये लाइन को एक बार पढ़िए, बस आपको ये ध्यान आ जाएगा बस इसमें। ओके, so I guess this will be it for today. We'll try to keep the video around 25 minutes. ऐसा 5-6 top news will be discussed, and I hope that this was the first experiment of the year 2024. uh, I hope that it worked, and in the upcoming videos we'll try to see what else we can add in this, whether can we add about Arunachal Pradesh and all. So yeah, thank you so much everyone. I guess let's see how it pans out. We'll meet again. Bye bye.